Right. Welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to Par 4 Podcast, presented by Golf Magic, Par 4, Par 3, whatever you want to call it. You're joined by myself, Alex, Will, and Johnny, the fabulous trio at Golf Magic to chat all things golf and much, much more. Today we are going to touch on a few fun things. Talor Gooch is going to start. We are a Gooch family here, so that will be the main topic. Then jumping into Scottie Scheffler and just some other little bits about golf as well. I've also got a really good bet that I put on that I'm probably going to lose, but it's all part of the fun. How are we, Will, Johnny? How are we doing today?
Good. Yeah, the sun is shining, which is nice. And we're going into summer weather, warmer. It's going to be good. It's going to be a good week.
For me, how are you, Johnny?
Yeah, good. After rounds, after school, after work, 9-hole rounds of back and play, which is always nice. The weather's suddenly decided to pick up, so fingers crossed that's the end of the rain for the year. But yeah, good. Had a good wedding at the weekend, so yeah, happy days. 4-day weekend for me, so can't complain.
Absolutely. The boys are back, the good weather's back, and Talor Gooch is back at the PGA Championship. We found out yesterday. I think he's number 664th in the world, and he got a special invitation alongside also David Puig. I think I may be butchering his last name. He is, I think, number 104 in the world. He's also a live star. They both got special invitations to the PGA Championship next week in Valhalla. Will, I'm going to come to you here about this because there's been a lot of social media coverage, good and bad, about Mr. Gooch. Do you think he deserves a PGA Championship invite over his form over on Live Golf?
Well, I mean, like, he's been getting a lot of stick. This whole asterisk, everything is about the whole asterisk behavior, and he's kind of, I'm not really sure. I mean, he might be a complete dark horse, and then forget about all the haters and go out and win it, which would be a headline in itself. And I'm sure he will bring that up in his winning speech. He was a huge surprise. So, yeah,
he's.
I don't know what you guys think about it.
Well, the thing is, I'll come to you, Johnny, in a second. I think from a live point of view, he's deserved it, but I wouldn't have thought they would have considered that much because there's been so much scrutiny over it being 54 holes. Johnny, what do you think? Do you think people like that, people who play so well over on the Live Tour, deserve invites to major championships?
I think if you go to Live and you want to get into the major championships, I think you've still got to go and do what Joaquin Niemann did. Go and play on some other tours, earn your way in like that. I don't think 54-hole no-cut events really do justify inclusion into major championships in particular. I mean, I think it's a pretty bold move letting him in there because it kind of makes a precedent for kind of future major championships that then, we're going to do this. And I think it's just going to add kind of fuel to the Live versus PGA Tour fire. Whether or not, it'll be interesting to see if any kind of PGA Tour players come out and question the decision. Because you'd think those who are maybe kind of like right on the cusp, who put in the hard yards on the PGA Tour, will suddenly be like, well, why have I not been given a special exemption, and it's been given to a guy who basically turned his back however many years ago. I mean, obviously he's playing good enough golf to compete, but I don't know. It's an interesting one. I think I thought after his asterisk chat and kind of saying that he didn't really care about going for major championships, and they might just turn a blind eye to him. But fair play. I mean, it will be interesting to see how he does actually compete, because obviously he's rates himself as one of the best golfers in the world right now. He made some pretty bolshy claims. So hopefully he can back those up by going out and actually giving a good showing, because it might be quite embarrassing for him
though, isn't it?
if he does kind of poop the pants and miss the cut. But I mean, they say you want to see all the best players in the field, and I think it's fair to say after the season he had last year, he's also had a pretty solid start to this year. He's obviously in good form. So another good storyline for the PGA Championship, and we can't have too many of them. So it'll be interesting to see.
It is heating up. I think one thing that I thought yesterday when I saw it, and there was obviously a lot of reservations towards Mr. Gooch, because you think, it's 54 holes, it's not the main tour and whatnot. There's always going to be some sort of like favoritism, because Tiger got a invite to the US Open, and I think we can all look at Tiger for the US Open and be like, he's got an invite because he's Tiger Woods, right? But is that fair? Like, I personally think it's absolutely fine because he's a legend. He should get invited to anything. But if we're getting, like, what's the difference here? Are we looking at it just because Tiger's got this unbelievable legacy and he's shaped golf so that he should be invited to everything?
I think it's also probably because they're so scared the TV ratings are going to be incredibly low again. They think if they get Tiger there, it'll give them a nice little boost.
That's a very good point.
Well, you saw when he didn't make the cut. When he didn't make the cut before, the ratings just dropped. Yeah, and it's like he brings spectators. Regardless of how he plays, he brings the fans.
Do you think Mr. Gooch will?
No.
Do you think that's what they've done here?
Not like anywhere near that same level. I mean, obviously the asterisk caused quite a lot of stir, but I think for the kind of wider golfing audience, those people that aren't going to stop watching after 36 holes, I don't think it's going to make a massive difference now. No. I mean, he's not big enough.
Be a little spike and that's it type thing.
It'd be funny if they pair him with McIlroy.
That would be very, very funny. I wonder if they're doing it then because of this kind of... Because I think David Puig was obviously a little bit higher ranked. I think he has frequented more on the other tours. People looking at that and being like, "Why? What's he done to really deserve that?" type of thing. And the more I think about it, the more I think maybe they picked Talor Gooch because they want to just generate as much buzz as possible towards the PGA Championship. There is a debate as to who's deserved it, but then maybe David is something being like, "Hang on, we can't just invite Talor Gooch. We have to invite someone else. Let's try and kind of do a PR thing here and make it better." I'm not really too sure.
Well, I mean, judging by, I'm just having a look at Puig, or however you pronounce his name's form on the Live Tour this season, and he's currently individually standings. He's 43rd. He's had 2 top 15 finishes, and those were his best earlier in the season. So I don't think they're necessarily getting him along to kind of make fireworks happen. But interesting decision. But I won't be extending my viewing time of the PGA Championship because David Puig's in the field. That's for sure.
No, I believe
you. Not to be mean. I'm just like if you're kind of like if you're on the border between being interested or not, I don't think he's a kind of needle mover, so to speak.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, I mean, I agree.
You know, it is quite interesting for David Puig. His form, if you look at on the actual official OWGR in the tournaments that he's played in 2024, he's gone first, tied 10th, second, and 5th. So maybe they're looking at that and being like, okay,
I dare say they will undoubtedly be looking at that,
yeah, rather than the live
real
finishes.
cool, Alex.
I think so. Do you think anyone else on Live Golf deserves a star championship? Yeah. People like the old boys, Ian Poulter, Lee Westwood, people like that.
Oh, that's the point. Yeah, Ian Poulter. What's he like? He's gone a bit quiet, isn't he? Speaking of old Poulter.
He's been woeful over on Live Golf. I think it was, I can't remember what tournament it was. It wasn't Singapore. It may have been Adelaide. He was really, really poor. But he is, I think, one of the biggest advocates for Live Golf. And will always be. And to be honest, I've looked at that before. I don't really blame people like that. You know, he's getting into his like the final stage of his career. He's been offered a fair wage of money. Why would you not? And now you're traveling the world, kind of being
exactly.
I don't.
I've always kind of said. Yeah, I've always kind of said with Live Golf, it's for the old boys that are kind of they haven't really got another win in them. I mean, there is a few surprises around that, but they haven't got like that much potential left. And it's kind of like they've been offered the chance to win money, still do their job, but less of it, and still spend time with their families as they go to eventually retire or whatever. So I think in that sense, obviously you get players the likes of Brooks that are still performing very well. But I think for the older boys, I think it was a great move for them. But yeah, maybe Ian Poulter was it's like Phil Mickelson. I think he's coming ready to retire, which is quite sad actually, knowing that he's coming to the end of his very incredible, lustrous career. But yeah, no, it's I think it's definitely I wouldn't say it's a place you go to retire, but it's just I think it's up there with I mean it's like DJ said, you'd get paid more to do less. Like if you ask that to anyone about their job, like if I asked you two right now, if I give you all this money and you do less of your job, would you take it?
Yeah, sorry,
No.
Patrick.
Yeah, like it's a no-brainer. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah,
a good point. I still think. Go on, Johnny.
No, I was going to say exactly the same. I've like Westwood, Poulter, Stenson. I mean, Stenson slightly less so because he still had Ryder Cup captaincy to do, but that's behind us now. And McDonald did a fantastic job, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, for all of those guys who are kind of in the twilights of their career, I mean, like people like Pat Perez, he was saying that it's just like a golden parachute, basically. He was like an absolute blessing. He'd been grinding on the PGA Tour for, I don't know, 20, 30 years. And now he got to go and kind of just cruise around, go to some, and also I think go to go play some like cool courses that they wouldn't have had the opportunity to do on the PGA Tour as well. And they obviously get treated incredibly well. The caddies get treated incredibly well. So yeah, a bit of a no-brainer. I mean, especially for those kind of for the players going from South Africa or Australia who don't have such a kind of like tight allegiance to the PGA Tour. You get to go to Adelaide, you get to go to Singapore, a place in Asia.
Travel the world, basically.
Easy, yeah. And you're playing for $4 million every week, so happy days.
I don't mind playing for £30 every week in my Stableford, let alone $4 million. So I believe that's a fun thing. My course is far worse. I do think it's cool though. Look, I know we touched on it last week, but as you said, like when they travel to different places, like they're pushing for to do South Africa next year because they have quite a lot of players from there and really just generate a lot more attention from places that perhaps the PGA Tour doesn't have. Like I think it is, despite there being a lot of negativity around Live Golf for the players being on one leg and close to retirement type thing. I think the concept of it is improving. But that being said, is it good for the game? I still don't think so. We've touched on it before. I would rather see it all come into one. It'll be really, really interesting to see what the PGA Championship numbers are, because we said the Masters numbers were down by about 20%, despite it being a somewhat entertaining tournament. We will have to wait and see. Yeah. PGA Championship will be very interesting, though, with not just Mr. Gooch. He's obviously going to not be the biggest talking point. There'll be a lot more. But we found out over the last few days that Scottie Scheffler will not be committing to this week's Wells Fargo Championship, a signature event on the PGA Tour, so one of the important, very expensive ones too. He's not doing that because him and Meredith, his partner, are expecting their first child. They have been for quite some time now, so I'm sure the baby is due any day. What I am now intrigued by is if it doesn't happen, obviously they don't have it this week, and it goes into PGA Championship week, will he skip the PGA Championship? Will the field then open up? Because looking at the early odds, he is heavy favourite. I think he's about 7-2 to get PGA Championship trophy. They want to make a trophy at Valhalla. I think the nearest person is McIlroy and Rahm, about 10-11 to 1. What do we think, Will? Do you think? Well, first of all, do you think he's got it in the bag either way? Do you think it's just like? Do you think he's good odds at 7-2?
Yeah, I mean, he's almost unstoppable right now. But I think with the baby looming, if it hasn't been born around that time, he's even come out and said, like, you only have your first baby once, right? And you're not going to be there to miss that regardless. And as prestigious as the event is, and obviously he would love to try to secure this Grand Slam, I think he's more of a family man. I reckon if the baby isn't born, I reckon he would, I don't know, I think nearer the time, if it's still not born, I think he would pull out, just with the off chance that he doesn't want to start a tournament. Although he obviously won the Masters with that over his head, with the possible pregnancy happening and the baby coming. But yeah, I don't know. I think because it's getting to a point now where I don't even when the due date actually is. I don't know if that's been like released at all.
I think it's been.
Okay. So yeah, I imagine it'd be born very, very soon before that. And then if that's the case, obviously he'll be on the field, and I reckon he could get it done. If he's not got baby head with the lack of sleepless nights and God knows what else that comes with having your baby, let alone your first one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I reckon if the baby's been born, he'll definitely show up, and yeah, he'll come to play, I reckon.
Interesting. What do you think, Julian? None of us are really that familiar with babies. But
babies, no. I've had well, my brother had a baby about just over a year ago, and he's expecting another one in about 2-3 months' time. But yeah, personal experience is somewhat lacking. But I reckon if he manages, if Meredith has the child in the next week, and both mother and child baby are doing well, I think there's every chance he will tee it up at the PGA Championship. But if it gets pretty close and she's overdue, then she might be quite uncomfortable, and it might be a little bit of a well, we've got to get the baby out, we've got to be in hospital. Who knows what could happen? It's obviously a very difficult thing. I have no doubt that he will be putting his wife and child first. And if the PGA Championship has to be missed, then that's, I think, the least of his concern. As I said, if it happens between now and then, they're both healthy, then who knows? He might tee it up. But I think it's just those. I wouldn't be surprised if she's not given birth by the Tuesday, Wednesday of that week. Then he'll be like, no bueno. I'm out.
Yeah, I agree.
It will be that would actually be a major where you could argue there would have to be an asterisk by who won it, because Scheffler is in such good form that him not being there would be well, it's kind of a good opportunity for anyone else. But
open up the field a bit. Everyone else to crack at it.
Yeah,
Rory win another one at Valhalla would be good.
No,
I've gone off him now.
Oh, no, yeah.
No, you got to keep the fight alive, people.
No, it's dead. It's dead. I have no faith in Rory at all. Even though obviously you won with Shane, I have faith in one person. I'm slightly worried with Scottie how well he's playing. What's post-baby Scottie going to play like? Because have you seen that thing that every time quite a successful golfer has a kid, their post-baby perspective, they just go on an absolute tear. And Scottie's going on a tear pre-baby. After he has his first kid, he might just have this kind of new sense of, I'm not just the best player in the world, I'm the best player ever, and just win absolutely everything, which could be somewhat dangerous. Or it could, but I don't think it does.
I'm incredible, I'm the man, a bit like you, and then thin it.
I think if he was having, I guess it depends how hands-on he wants to get. He's obviously got the cash to get quite a lot of help in when needed, if he needs to get his sleep and he gets rest and do all his training. So he might want to do it all himself. He might be one of those guys who's no, I'm gonna wake up super early. I'm gonna do all the feeding, all the etc. etc.
That's the difference between.
If that's the case, I can imagine it would be pretty exhausting, and he might slightly dip. Who knows? Who knows what he's capable of?
Yeah, I guess the difference of being if he wants to be a dad or if he wants to be a father. I reckon in saying that, that's deep for Tuesday. Come on, you know what I mean? Though, I'm sure knowing the type of person that he is, he's going to want to be that one that's always there for the child. He doesn't want to have the child grown up to not having the attention from the dad. And the excuse being I had to work all the time, whatever kind of thing. I reckon although he's got the money and whatever to get the help in, he's going to want to do as much as he can and support his wife and family through it all. And also, get a few more trophies in him.
Yeah. What if he is so invested in the child when it's born, is that he might just decide to miss the PGA Championship to be with Meredith? That could happen. You never know. We'll find out. Irrespective of that, I do think that we might see a little bit more fire with the rest of the field than the Masters, despite there being summed for it. Just because I have a certain player who we've seen do very well in majors. I've mentioned him many times to a lot of my friends online as well. And he just won a Live Golf last week, Mr. Brooks Koepka, a Chad, a real NFL quarterback type person. Hard to like for some people. I love him to pieces. He's just an unbelievably. He just isn't a golfer, which is why it's quite funny. And he has.
Kiss him.
I could. If he wins the PGA Championship, I definitely will. But he won Live Golf the week just gone. He actually finished third in it last year at Live Golf Singapore, and then won the PGA Championship. He did not perform very well in the Masters, which was quite unfortunate. Very clearly did not have his A game. He actually said last week he didn't have his A game and was still shooting 66s for fun. He is actually just switched from his usual Scottie Cameron putter to a new, I believe it's the X5.5, which looks very similar. I think it's one that JT has. So more of a mallet kind of fang putter, which is somewhat different, but 1x3. Didn't say at his best as well. So we're now going into the PGA Championship. He's now dropped from, I think it was 20-1 to 15 or 16-1. We've now got two things here. We've got the fire of Brooks Koepka maybe back for major season. He does very much so like the PGA Championship, I think more than any other person. Johnny, does he have a chance?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I don't think you can ever count him out at a major, to be honest. Especially, I mean, the Masters, was slightly disappointing, but off the back of another win, we all know what he's like. Turns it on a major championships, won 3 PGA Championships, probably will like the idea of making that 4. Definitely. I think he's got to be kind of in your top 3-4 players who, like most people, I would say, are going to back.
Yeah. Okay. I like the sound of that. What you will?
He was at 15-16 to 1.
He was, yeah. So I got on him at 20-21, which was on the Friday after he shot his first 66. He has now dropped quite considerably. I reckon he'll drop again by the time of the PGA Championship, and I reckon what's going to happen is day by day we're going to see the odds of the field slowly dropping, and we're going to see maybe Scottie climbing up slightly. I don't know, just because there's going to be this uncertainty of, hang on, what do we do if Scottie withdraws type thing? And there are certain people, I think, even Rory now at the odds, he said about Valhalla and stuff, if Scottie's not in there, he's going to start seeing like looking at being like, hang on a second, I can now. He was so pissed off at Scottie last year. We saw in full swing of him playing so well and Rory being like, I just can't beat him. He's not in the field. He's like, well, hang on a second, I can beat the other guys. So I wouldn't be surprised if we would see some bookies changing the odds a little bit. But I think he's 16 now, which genuinely I think still pretty good value for money.
I think it's good value.
So what do you think, Will?
I also think a lot of people won't be placing their bets until kind of like next week. So I think he will continue to go down. So if you good tip if you want to
that's the thing though. Like, obviously a lot of people won't be placing their bets till the week before or whatever. But with the championships coming up like this week or whatever, the odds are going to change. So you might be getting good odds now while you can. Not that we're advocating betting. We're just putting our 2 cents in, quite literally 2 cents. But no, I think Brooks has got a good chance, obviously winning last year. And no, I think he'll go in with well, the thing is we had high expectations of him going into the Masters. But no, I reckon he's definitely a good pick. I'm kind of, although obviously in this podcast I said about giving up on Rory, I didn't mean that. I would love to have it. I'd love to have him do well again. It's going to be interesting what happens with all the odds and stuff with Scottie, with what's going on with him, and if he's going to tee it up. That will be interesting to see how the rest of the field relates. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one. But no, I'm torn. I really don't know who to really put my money on. It's
controversial take for 2 guys who follow golf very closely, watch a lot of golf, play a lot of golf. Where does the PGA Championship rank for you in terms of how excited you get about golf events?
Ooh. I reckon if it's a major,
the bottom of the majors, hasn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Like, do you get more excited about like the Players or the PGA Championship?
Are we including the Players then?
No. Like, I personally, for me, in terms of like watching, I've probably got, as controversial as this may be coming from England, but I've got Masters number 1, Open number 2, Open number 3, PGA number 4. But then that's just in the majors. I think if you were to include, like, I love the Genesis Invitational at Riviera in terms of as a spectacle to watch on TV. I'd like argue that I would maybe prefer that to the PGA Championship, which I know is controversial. But for some reason I've got this like real thing about the PGA Championship. Like I feel like America has been greedy. They don't need 3 major championships there, and that what the PGA Championship should be moved elsewhere.
I get that.
It should be like tennis. We've got one in England, one in France, one in Australia, one in America. Just adds a bit more excitement. I think just having, I don't know, it's just like a bit bloated.
You know what? Why I think it's my order is slightly different, but not because of the actual content that's there. I love the players. I'd go Masters, the Open, Players, PGA Championship, and US Open. And I only put US Open low, but I only put the US Open low because it's almost like there's a carbon copy in my head of the PGA Championship. Yes, the courses are different because the PGA Championships come first. But then the Players are so high for me because it's like, for me, it's the first major of the year type thing. It's an awesome course, and you get really giddy and excited for it to see what's happening. And then Masters, everyone goes nuts type thing. PGA Championship, the next one, incredible. Then the Open comes by, very different. Then the US Open, I believe it is, and everyone's like, "Oh, is it? No, it's the wrong way around."
The Open last.
The Open's last. So Open's different, but the US Open, I feel like it's just too samey to the PGA Championship because, as you said, it's in America. Yes, it usually plays harder, but I'm just like, I want something drastic.
I think the US Open means more to American players than the PGA,
but not to us, right?
But maybe just not to us, Which I think is what makes what tips it in my favor, and also because it is like an Open rather than PGA Championship. It's just.
When you're not like, where would the Ryder Cup fit in for you? Because like, although it's every 2 years, that's the thing. I think, that's definitely ahead of the Masters. 100%.
Oh yeah.
That is the best. Yeah, like I'd watch that through and through, like the team events, because it's just so exciting. But I think the fact that it's every 2 years makes you more excited about it.
I've got a lot of friends who aren't into golf, but they will watch the Ryder Cup whenever it's on as well.
Same.
Like it's the one, and like maybe the Masters, but it's the one event that I know a lot of people who have zero interest in golf for the rest of the year, and then when the Ryder Cup's on, they'll get super into it. It's something about representing your kind of, I know it's not art like nation, but representing Europe and going up against the US, the old foe. It's good fun. Just adds the extra element of like competitiveness, doesn't it?
Well, I like the fact that it is every 2 years as well. Like if it was every year, I think although you'd still be excited about it, I think you wouldn't appreciate it as much if it was every year.
And also the fact that it's only every 4 years on home soil makes it more exciting.
Yeah.
But
there's also
Luke Donald's at Best Page Flat as we speak.
Is he?
Luke Donald's there with Eduardo Molinari. I saw it on Twitter this morning. They were doing they were checking out the course, doing a bit of scoping it out.
Oh, lovely.
They can do whatever they want with that course. We are getting pumped. We are getting absolutely destroyed over
the crowd. The crowd be brutal as well.
Yeah, we are going to.
When was the last time we won on US soil?
Medina,
which was
in 2012.
Yeah. Okay.
And like that was like we were not lucky, but like that was took a miracle. Obviously, that's the name.
We're going to get abused. Like it's going to go off.
Yeah.
But it's going to be.
They saw us do the tough crowd in New York as well, and so it's going to be a baptism of fire, I think, for a lot of the younger European players.
Oh yes,
it's going to be a lot of fun, but can't wait.
It is going to be a lot of fun, and we were looking forward to that. Looking forward to all the majors. We're going to touch upon something a little bit different now and get more into some wonderful and wacky questions. First of all, I'm going to ask you both. Will, I'm going to go to you first. How far do you hit your 7-iron?
On a good or bad day?
What? If someone says how far do you hit it, what's your stock yardage for a 7-iron?
Well, I don't know because I'm still waiting for the 7-iron from you. I'd say carry. I'd say about one. I could probably get it out 160.
Okay, Johnny.
I think 165.
My stock yardage for my 7-iron has been for a while about 165, 170 between the two.
Okay.
But it's
happy with
wildly different indoor sim compared to actually out on the course. Is something I've discovered.
Yeah. Do you want more out of that number? Do you want less? Are you happy with that?
I'm not necessarily. I think if I could keep it above 165, I'd be pretty happy with that. Yeah, to be honest, it's more knowing how far it goes than if it goes far. Like if I knew I could bank on it going 165 every time, then I think that's more important than getting it out to like 172, 175, because there'd just be like a lack of control, so to speak.
Sure.
But 165. I mean, to be fair, I think I would like to hit it a bit further. I feel like, considering my height, I should be able to. Feel like I've got long enough levers to get the ball out there a bit further, personally.
To pump it. Okay.
Yeah.
Will, would you like to hit the ball further with your beans?
No, I mean, I'm still floating between like having but with the AI smokes that I'm currently gaming with, to be fair, I'm not going out enough to really get an idea on how far I hit each club. I'm still like, when I tee it up or when I'm using my trusty app to find out how far I am from the green or the fairway, I'm looking at it and I'm still toying up between, is this the right club to use? Like, I'm not fully confident knowing how far each club goes.
You need to get you some more smart sensors, Will.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll wait those from you boys. Thank you very much. But yeah, I think where I'm at now, I don't know. Like, I think getting the ball further with a lower, high, whatever club, to me, I think it's more of it's a macho thing. It's like, you can get your 7-iron out 190. Like, to me, I don't think that's, obviously it's impressive, but I'd rather a club go straight and consistent and less distance than being able to hit it really far but in the wrong direction.
I don't believe you.
If you get so, wait, okay, let's talk about a driver, right?
Yeah.
You'd rather be able to spank it 320 but not have any consistency and it be going all over the shot, rather than being like 280 and have it, or 260 or whatever, and have it consistently on the fairway straight.
Not anymore. But I feel like I've learned from by maybe. But I think I've learned from by being in the industry, like by having golf as our life. I don't think if golf wasn't my life type thing, if I was a casual golfer, I would take 320 every single day.
Oh yeah,
because
it's like a game show. You're like, come on, exactly. It's an ego thing.
Yeah, and I think I've seen on social media, is why I'm bringing it up. Like, people are, when we post stuff, when I post like something on Twitter, how far to hit your 7-iron? There is a barrage of abuse towards the people who say they hit any more than 170 yards. Like, no, you don't. You're tiny. And I'm like looking at it, being like,
then they look at their profile picture and go, "There's no way you could hit it the way you look," and all this. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, and everyone's like, you're hitting it further than PGA Tour average and stuff like that. When realistically, and Will, you put it very well there. The importance in actually hitting it straight and consistent far supersedes that of hitting it absolutely miles. Like, the people who are straight on the PGA Tour usually win. There's an argument that there are people who actually are longer win as well, but it's only because they don't hit it absolutely miles. I feel like I'm someone who, tries to hit it 110% every single day of the week, because I will always, unfortunately, my ego always wins. It does though. Like, when you're playing with some people and they're like, "Wow, you hit it a long way," and I'm like, "Stop it!" Like, whereas someone's
you love it though, don't you? You actually love it.
Of course I do.
You love it so much.
It's the buzz. Whereas if you're hitting it 240 dead straight down the middle of the fairway, no one's going to be like, see that guy over there? He hits it really straight. It's not the same. Whereas for me personally,
it's always.
But I find it more impressive, someone who hits it dead straight every single time. But I'm playing with someone who's, let's say, a bit of a senior golfer, who's bombing it 240 down the middle every single time. I'm looking at that and being like, wow, you're a bloody good golfer. Whereas when I'm seeing someone who's, let's say, a bit older than me, and you can probably hit 300 yards, but they are, they're getting 10 miles into their walk because they're going left and right every single fairway. I look at them and I'm being like, you're a moron. And actually, I'm looking in the mirror type thing. But it's one of those things, isn't it?
I agree, though. I agree that when you're on the tee and you see someone absolutely bomb it, you're more likely to compliment them, going, "Mate, that was mega. That you hit that so far." Than, "Oh, nice, you hit it straight again on the fairway." Like, it's more exciting, obviously.
I don't do that anymore.
Absolutely pounded.
when I see someone hit it straight, I'm seeing someone like consistently hit it.
Nice.
Like there's a guy who a player at my local club who's off +3. He's not a bomber. You think to be off +3, you've got to hit miles. Probably hits at 260 max or so. Not the tallest guy, not the biggest guy, but his bad shot is the middle of the fairway. His good shot is middle of the fairway. And like when I first started playing with him, I was there being like, you are so good at golf that you're hitting a shot that's at the toe and out the heel, and it's still going to 30 foot. And whereas I think when other golfers, club golfers, myself included, I think all of us included, hit a bad shot, like I want to turn away and cry because it's not something that's in the middle of the fairway. It's probably 3 fairways over, or it's topped and shanked or something like that. That for me is so much more impressive than someone who can hit it 350, because I think
changed man.
Yeah, well, I say that. Play golf with me next week, and I'll probably do the exact opposite of what I'm saying. But I think that's more impressive to me. Hitting it straight and being consistent, I think, has more talent and merit to it than hitting it like miles. What do you think, Johnny?
I completely agree. And inevitably, the people who do that score a lot better as well, which also helps. And there's nothing more impressive. There's one thing seeing someone who hit it 350 yards, but you come off the final green and they've struggled to break 90. It's really not that impressive. Whereas you get someone who's kind of not tapping it down the middle, but like hitting it 240, 250, walk off of shooting like 71 or 72, then that is the test. That is the mark of a really good golfer. I actually played with a guy who's a pro. He's the head pro at the county in Northamptonshire. A guy called Adam Myers, and he's I don't think his handicap for our trip was +3, and I played with him 3 times, and he's the straightest hitter of a driver I've ever seen in my life. He hit 100% of fairways every single time I played with him. And it was like metronomic. It was so good to watch, and he was still getting it out there like 280. He wasn't like he's quite a tall guy. He wasn't like hitting it absolutely miles, but like still giving himself wedges into greens, reaching par 5s and 2. And he just made it look so easy. And that was far more impressive than some other guys on our trip who could probably hit it way past him, but were maybe only hitting 3-4 fairways around, and like having a couple of blobs on their card. Like that's just the kind of the way it is. I've always been quite an admirer of accuracy personally. But having said that, it's also quite fun watching you just slap it like 340 down the middle of the fairway and watching it sail off. There's a time and place for both in my eyes. Perhaps absolutely crushing it and occasionally hitting it is more of a scramble tactic. But straight drivers. I mean, it's great to watch.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And on top of that, it is fun to say, like you said, scramble, but say if we were playing like a scramble event, us 3, and like me and Johnny being quite conservative and we're safe, and then you could just go, Alex, you know what? Let him off the chain, let the dog out, and see if he can. And then see if he could just clear that dog leg over the trees. And it's like, all right, I'll do that. And if he does it, you're like, wow.
It's funny you say that. I've played a few scramble things at my local golf club, and people used to, come on, let's play with us. And it's because of that kind of format. I remember the first one I played with, we were doing a few holes, and there was like the first hole at Manning's is like 340, like not really driver, you don't hit driver type thing. They all played down there, so we got 100 yards left, and like, Alex, go for it. And I was like, okay then. And I went for it as hard as I could. I nearly missed the ball, and it duck hooked into the trees on the left. They all looked at me like, what was that? And I was like, that was over enthusiasm is what that was. I didn't hit a single good drive that day because I actually felt like more so there were so many eyes watching me, because I was hitting drives where I shouldn't hit drives. I'm like, all right, drive it. I'm like, yeah, sure. No, I'm going to go into the trees. So I think it's fun. But I think now also this year with the realms of forgiveness and drivers and stuff, like I've gone for a driver, and we've kind of all gone for drivers that are more towards forgiveness rather than over there. I've got some really low spinning drivers that I could probably get out 180 ball speed quite easily, 350 or so. But then that brings in a lot of problems. Yeah, I'm happy having it at 170 or so, a little bit higher spin, and still being 290 down there. I think I said the other week to someone, I was hitting it really poorly with the ping G430 Max 10K, like off the heel, off the toe. It was still going straight about 285. And because those people don't really see that I was hitting bad, they're like, wow, what a shot. I'm looking back being like, man, that was dreadful. I was out the heel. Like, that's what 600-pound driver does. Yeah, but I'm like, that's fine. But yeah, I think if anyone's listening to this and they're thinking, I want to do speed training, I want to do this, I want to do that, just focus on hitting out in the middle first. If you can hit out in the middle really consistently and straight, then maybe do it. But I've gone through speed training before. I've done through that. What's more important is getting lessons and figuring out your biomechanics of your golf swing and trying to get that score down first. But that does actually bring us on to
swing.
Tom Kim also said that, like, if you want to hit it further, increase your smash factor. Like, hit the middle of the club face. Like, that's the first thing to do. Like, before you start trying to put on a load of muscle.
Tom Kim.
If you can consistently hit the center of the club face, it's going to go way further than just trying to wail on it and having it coming out of the heel and the toe.
I do agree, actually. I think when we've been testing over at Custom Golf Works and over at the Foresight HQ, actually last week, I was looking at my club head speed, and it shows that I am decidedly not very good at getting that smash factor up. Because if you look at the smash factor of PGA Tour players, their average is 1.49 to 1.5. I was looking at mine, I'm like, oh, cool, I'm not actually slow. I'm still 120 club head speed, but my smash factor is like 1.42, 1.43. So I can get 180 ball speed. I'm just not hitting it out of the sweet spot. And I think I went down the path of speed training. I got probably up to about 124 or so, but it led to more problems because I wasn't hitting the sweet spot. I was hitting out the toe and out of the heel, so those misses would then go even more. So I think get a more efficient swing, and once that's efficient, then maybe try and get a few mile an hour more. That's, I think, our tips, the tips from myself, having been through it and nearly ruining my swing doing that. It was very fun for people watching and also for people looking at my scores. But thankfully, I've turned a new leaf.
It's been the downfall of my golf recently.
Has it?
Well, because my whole thing at the beginning of the year was make my backswing longer to generate more club head speed, hit everything further, and what the aim was that should also keep me on plane, so hit it straighter. And it's done almost. I have started hitting driver further, but as a result, my consistency of strike has just gone down the toilet.
Right. Oh, yeah. Actually,
I might just start doing a little ramies. I mean, it's not quite a ram one, but I used to maybe only get back to like here, and now I'm trying to get back to here. And that extra reach is just, causing me all sorts of
issues. Maybe it's a driver issue, mate. Maybe you need a new driver.
Yeah, maybe.
Don't play in the clubs.
I'm quite happy with my driver. I just need to get better at golf. That's the key.
Yeah.
We all do indeed. That does bring me on to...
I'm playing the Berkshire this week, so that'll be a good test.
That will be tough.
Yeah, that will be tough.
Decidedly difficult course. Our last point we get onto before we go on to our birdies and bogies of the week, I want to ask you both a fairly fun question. And actually, Will, I'm going to use you as a little guinea pig for today, as our token 28 handicap. If that's okay. I always think of people who are off 28 or high handicaps. I think, how big is the difference between someone who is, a beginner of sorts, someone who would struggle to break 100, let's say, consistently, and someone who wants to break par consistently. So, Will, I'm going to jump to you here first, because we are going to use you as a perfect example of someone off 28. Let's say we have the big boss of Golf Magic come up to you and say, Will, from now on, from May 2024 to 2025, you are no longer working for Golf Magic technically. You are not editing, not doing anything, on the podcast. Instead, 5 days a week, you are now improving your golf game. You've got lessons, you've got range balls, you've got a membership at a course, and I need you to get down to scratch, and I want you to be able to also break par once, or you can never play golf again within a year. Do you think you'd be able to do it?
Yes. I'm not even thinking about it. I think you could. If you use it as what are you shaking your head at? Right? I think if you were to play golf as a full-time job with lessons regularly and all the support that you would ever need, I think you could. I reckon you could do it, because you think about how, okay, let's take you as an example, Alex. When you played years ago, you obviously were a 28 handicapper, just like myself, at some point in your life.
Yeah.
The getting yourself down from 28 to obviously going down to where you are now, 4.8.
4.5. 4.5.
4.5, right?
I don't cut.
realistically, how long did it take you to get from 28 down to where you are now? Because you said from when you're at single figures, the time it takes to get down is long, right? It's the getting down from 28 to 10. I'm not saying it's easy, but that's quicker than 10 to where you are, right?
28 to 10, I think, I wouldn't say straightforward, but I think if you do it with an efficient plan and guidance, I think it's not the hardest thing in the world.
So, with that in mind, if you, and then thinking how much you used to play golf, like regularly, to get down to that, if you had that as a full-time job, playing every day, lesson, not every day, but like having lessons, everything else, and all the support, I think you could do it. Personally.
Johnny?
I think Will is slightly underestimating how hard it is to get from 5 to 0, personally. And I remember when we spoke to the head guy from Arcos, and we were telling him about our plans for the year, Alex, and I was saying I was trying to get down to single figures, and you saying you're trying to get down to scratch. And I remember him vividly saying that yours was going to be about 10 times harder than mine. And the reason I think it is a lot harder than you may think, Will, I'm not trying to poo-poo your idea, but like I've got quite, Alex being one of them, quite a lot of friends who got down to that area, so like ranging from 1 till 4, and have played so much golf, had so many lessons. One friend in particular who's been like, he plays more golf than anyone I know who has a full-time job, put it that way. Like every weekend goes to range lessons and stuff. And he's a fantastic golfer. His handicap is 1.6, I think. And he still has yet to actually shoot under par. So I think maybe some of that might be down to bad luck, just like hasn't been with him on the day. But I think even still, like he's been playing golf since he was 10 years old. I think taking a 28 handicapper and expecting them to break par in a year is unrealistic, despite all of the lessons, all the equipment. Like there's such a lot you have to learn. Like you could get good ball striking, but then in order to break par, your chipping has to be fantastic, your putting has to be really good, like your bunker play has to be really good. Like you can barely afford a mistake during your rounds to shoot under par.
Very true. I mean, I'm thinking of it in terms of
all of them out.
I'm thinking of it in terms of like, he obviously plays a lot of golf, but I don't know. In my head, I'm almost thinking like, say if you didn't have the worry of having to do a job as well as this, like if it was literally your full-time job.
Yeah,
I think
that would get to you though. I think because it'd be like, this is the only thing that now matters when you went through, because it's never like that. It is like peaks and troughs the whole way. And I think if you were like, why can't I do this? You're going through a trough and it was the only thing you had to even worry about. It would get even more frustrating. And I also think a huge part of this is natural ability. Some people have fantastic hand-eye coordination. They're athletic, naturally powerful, patient, good under pressure. Some people like could be dyspraxic or could be like just have very poor hand-eye. So I think there's there's so many other variables in play.
And mental game, I think, as well. Like, if you're, like you said, if you're doing this and you're like to a point where you imagine how, I mean, you see it when you get annoyed when you play the amount of golf you boys play now and you get annoyed. Imagine as a full-time job getting annoyed and then being like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, let us know in the comments.
I get annoyed when I'm hitting it bad at Custom Golf Works.
Yeah.
Let alone on the golf course.
To be fair, I mean, I looked at it. I was more focusing on the full-time job part, and then in my head, I was being, I reckon I might change my.
No, mate, stick with it.
It's doable. I think it is. It is potentially. I think it's very, very, very difficult. But I think. There's 1% of people who do it who could potentially achieve it, perhaps.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, I think. It's not...
I think, let us know in the comments if you want us to start a YouTube series in Golf Magic. We're trying to get down to scratch by this time next year. Let us know and we'll do it.
I mean, Iona Stephen did it pretty quickly, didn't she?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
She transferred from hockey to golf.
Yeah.
And got down to being a pro in like a couple of years.
Well, then she had a serious injury, didn't she? She couldn't. She had a serious injury. She had to adapt how she played.
Yeah.
And then she ended up, obviously doing.
I don't know if it was a year though. But again, she was like an elite athlete. Obviously, fantastic hand-eye. Played hockey. So I think that's.
I wonder if there actually is a statistic somewhere on the quickest anyone's ever gotten down to scratch.
There were many people who I think have gone from 28 to scratch in a year, mainly junior golfers. But as Johnny said, it will be people who, let's say, pick up a golf club and you're like, oh my God, they can swing a golf club already type thing. Like there's a difference between 28 handicap who genuinely, no offense, is dog awful, and also a 28 handicap who is like, oh wow, why on earth are you off 28 type thing. So it's a little bit different. Like I think I have a few friends who put your hand up. I've got a few friends who started at 28 and gone straight away. I think the more realistic expectation, if someone did that, is to go from 28 to single figures. I think would be something that people will be able to do.
Yeah.
Because I think what you mentioned there, Will, when I first started playing golf and I got the bug straight away, like I was in college, but I'll be honest with you, I don't know if it's 52 minutes in. I don't think my mum will be listening right now. I barely went to college. I just kept skiving off and was going to the driving range and playing golf. Couldn't be bothered about low ray level. I wanted to go hit some 7-irons. And I played golf a lot. I probably played 4 or 5 rounds a week every single day, was addicted to it.
Wow.
And I went from, let's say, 21 to 9, I think, in a year. And I thought I was so good. And I do remember talking to one of my friends on a golf course, like, hey, should we try and go pro or something next year or something like that? And then I found girls and alcohol, so that didn't happen. But I think that gap, as Johnny said, the gap from single figures to get down to 0.0 or 0.4 even, it's just so difficult. Like those shots are impossible to get down. There could be some like loopholes if your world handicap index is like pretty easy to do. Like I shot 36 points last week, but with standing scratch, I went from 4.8 to 4.5. I dropped 0.3 very easily. So there could be ways around it, but I think a very, very good effort would be to go from 28 to 6 in 1 year. But we'll see what happens this year for you. I'm expecting single figures. You can
be watching your progress.
Yeah, now I've got the 7 on your family.
Right, so let's get on to the last bit of this wonderful podcast. We're going to go through our Golf Magic Birdies and Bogies of the week, talking about good and bad. Be about golf. Doesn't have to be about golf if you don't want it to be. Johnny, I am going to go to you first for this. If you don't have to play golf, just to talk about golf in general. Anything's coming up? Let's go for your birdie of Golf Magic Birdie of the week for you. Can be something in the future.
Birdie of the week. Is this the week that's just gone, or is this the week coming up?
Just in general, really. It can be the week just gone and also the week coming up. It can be a bit of everything.
Birdie. Well, one of my best friends, in fact, got married at the weekend. So that was a very lovely weekend of celebrations. So that will be my birdie. Shout out to Charlie Wilson and Olivia Wilson now.
Lovely.
My bogey. That's a good question. What's my bogey? I'll probably shoot about 100 at the Berkshire on Thursday. So I'm preempting a bogey.
Mate, mental game. Come on.
I'm going into it mentally, but I've played that course a couple of times, and when you're not hitting it straight, it is brutal because of the heather.
It's hard.
So, but no, who knows? I might go out and just have. It might be a real turning point for my golf season. Who knows?
You found it. You found your game at Foresight. Remember?
Yeah, maybe. I'm clinging on to that swing feel. Clinging on to that
remnants of Scheffler, I've been told.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Scottie.
True.
At address.
Sadly,
that's in the room.
His finish, unfortunately.
Well,
give me your Golf Magic Birdie and Bogey of the week. Either what's gone, what's coming up, anything fun, anything not so fun.
Let's go bogey first. None of these are golf related.
Okay,
unfortunately. So the bogey of the week is I was given a pickup truck for a week, and that's unfortunately has to go away. It gets picked up tomorrow, but I never thought I'd be a pickup man, and don the cowboy hat and play the country playlist, and away you go. Absolutely loving it. But unfortunately, that gets picked up tomorrow. It sucks. But my birdie of the week is that it's my last day today. Not at Golf Magic, only for holiday tomorrow. So I go on holiday tomorrow, Benidorm, with the missus, her granddad for her granddad's birthday, and her dad. So that'll be
nice.
Fun. So not been before. Brits abroad.
You're gonna be those types of people.
No, it should be fine.
You're just fully like drenched in sweat, beer in hand, watching the horse racing in a sports bar all day.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. It'd be nice to have a little break from work, and then I'll be back in time for the pod next week.
Absolutely, and the PGA Championship. Will be sorely missed for those few days, but either way, Golf Magic will just about keep ticking. Coming
out.
What am I going to be? So I can give two birdies. We've got a new launch monitor for Golf Magic. Last week we picked up a Foresight GC3 from the Foresight headquarters in the southeast of England. It's over there in my flat. It's an absolutely incredible piece of kit. I cannot put into words how cool this thing is. We were using it in every one of our videos going forwards, saying pretty much every single shot that will be now on the Golf Magic YouTube channel will have data behind it. It will be incredible to see. It is beyond accurate, and we're going to attempt to be using it outdoors and also indoors at points as well. So I'm very excited to use. Another birdie. Sorry.
Does it link to your phone like before, so we can do like screen recordings and apply that to?
It'll link to an iPad. So even better. Yeah, so it's going to be more landscape, which should be very cool to see some data. And also the software that's part of it we use GC Quad over at Custom Golf Works. They have some the older software. This new software is even cleaner. So it's going to be very, very good to use.
Yeah, nice.
I can do two birdies as well because I finally decided I do want to get to scratch. I think it's like anything in life. If let's say you want to go to the gym and you want to
decide.
You want to get skinny.
You've been banging on about that for years.
I want to get to scratch, but I want to actually get to scratch rather than just saying it and not doing it year on year. And it's like if you want to get big and strong, if you want to learn the piano, if you want to do something like that, you need a plan. And so I've got a coach now. I've got an online coach that's going to be looking into my swing. He's already done swing analysis a few days ago and said some very, really interesting things actually that I haven't heard before. And then laughed at my chipping videos I sent him because they were so dreadful. So we already know what we need to work on with that. My
scratch this time next year.
I genuinely think I could. I think maybe not scratch, but I think I could be off about one or two. I think
you should be able to get that. I believe in you.
Yeah, the golf game's in a good spot.
I reckon you could.
I'm not missing the ball out of bunkers now. I still hit bad shots, but I think my bad shots are now straights rather than nearly swore. My bad shots are now not 50 yards left or right. So we could get there. But my bogey of the week is I'm not playing golf this weekend. Unfortunately, I'm getting a tattoo, so I'm not allowed to sweat, and it's going to be it's going to be 22 degrees Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And if I do sweat, which I do a lot, I will not be able to, the tattoo will be done.
What's the tattoo?
Not telling. I'll tell you next week on
the
pod.
Where's it going?
Not telling. Tell you next week on the pod.
God, is it Gooch on the knuckles?
Gooch and Scottie on anything. You know what? If Brooks wins, I'll get Brooks on those knuckles. But yeah, stay tuned to see. Hopefully, I'll try and play golf sometime this week because I want to incorporate some of the drills that I've got to do. And I'm going to re-grip my mini driver as I've got some new big grips that I can put on there. It's still got a little one. But yeah, all going to get some practice in. We all do to try and get better at golf. Next week, Johnny will fill us in about how he did at Berkshire. We'll fill us in about how Benidorm was, and I'll fill you in about the PGA Championship and much, much more. So as approaching, we'll just hit the hour mark. We're going to finish it off there. If everyone's been listening on Apple Music, Spotify, and watching on YouTube, hope you guys have enjoyed. And until next week, we'll see you then.